Welcome to the program. No deal yet. That's the story coming in from Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Well, the divisions have continued to widen in the opposition People's Democratic Party following the recent meeting in London by the group of 5 aggrieved governors within the party. According to reports, the 5 governors met to finalize their decision on who to back for the presidency in the 2023 general elections, and an announcement is being expected, hopefully, before January or during the early days of January. The 5 governors are Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, Samuel Otom of Benue State, Shey Makinde of Oyo State, Ifeanyi Ugwoanyin of Enugu State, and Okezie Ikpeazu of Abia State. But in a swift reaction to all of this, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, says he cannot be taken by surprise by the G5 governors. Atiku noted that he was not worried by the plot by the G5 governors to endorse presidential candidates of their choice outside the PDP. Now, he says he's an elephant that has seen everything, noting that he can never be taken by surprise by any decision reached by the aggrieved governors. Well, joining us now is the spokesman of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Charles Aniagwu. He's also the Commissioner for Information in Delta State, and he joins us from Asaba, the state capital. Thanks so much, Charles, for joining us on program. And if you have been listening to...
Thanks, Somna. Good evening.
Yeah, if you've been listening to the River State governor, who seems to be the leader of the G5 governors, he's saying that Atiku's camp is having high blood pressure. And I want to find out if Atiku has visited his doctors of recent to check his blood pressure over this meeting that has been held in London.
Well, first, I don't know what our leader, Nyesom Wike, mean by high blood pressure. You know that since this whole drama started, and with these leaders having to travel to London as if they are going to their bathroom, of course, you know state resources involved. And that tells you how they seem not to understand what what's happening in our country today, that any fund need to be utilized properly. And so we are not going to develop any high blood pressure. The only news that will come from that group today will be that they have said, yes, they need to support the presidential candidate of their party. They have continued, and I told you the last time that our train have moved, and that in spite of the speed, and I'm sure you have seen the speed, you have seen the momentum, you have seen the number of persons that usually converge on each of our rally grounds, but we have a very wonderful and active brake pads, and that our train and the driver, the captain, will be very much willing to apply the brakes, to stop at given train stations, to pick up these passengers who today appear a little hesitant to join the train. And in addition to other persons who may also be sitting or standing aloof. So we do hope that they will return home, but much as we are hoping that they return home, we will continue to interface with Nigerians, because the power rightly belongs to the people, just like the name of our party. And we will not take for granted the sovereign, and that's the Nigerian people. As per the issue of high blood pressure, I don't know who may have made available a stethoscope to Nyesom Wike to have measured the temperature of any one of us, not to talk of our presidential candidate, who is, by the grace of God, very busy interfacing with Nigerians. Somna, I told you the last time that these issues are not just issues that you leave for just the political parties as if it's their business. We need to begin to examine the conduct of some of these people with respect to the survival of our democracy. Our leader, Nyesom Wike, says he has done so well in Rivers, and that is very much on ground. But it does appear that he's even afraid of posters, because even if you were to be during the rainy season, once you paste any poster, just a little rain will wash it off. But yet, he will not even allow anybody to place any poster, which means he's even afraid of posters. So I wonder who is developing a high blood pressure. We will continue to plead with him. We will continue to accord him the respect that he deserves as a governor, assuming that he also realizes that he's a governor. And we will continue to plead that he understands that this democracy is very precious to Nigerians. The very precarious nature of our country today, particularly the economy and the state of security, is quite disturbing, that any leader needs to be responsible enough to sheath his sword and take decisions that will help us in navigating these very murky waters and then be able to find solutions. But that a man suffered defeat in a primary election that was very, very creditably organized is one thing that we don't even understand the extent to which he's taking this fight. They have come saying because Ayu did not resign, but I can tell you now, it is not because of Ayu. I told you the last time that for a very long time, apologies to Chimamanda Adichie, who talked about the danger of a single story. In our party, in our quest for peace, and we will continue to search for that peace, we have allowed this single story to persist. But let me now give you a hint. When the issue of zoning was discussed, Sumner, you covered it. You know that Otom was the chairman of the zoning committee. It was not Atiku that kept it, that made the zoning open for people to just go and contest, and in which case there was a contest between the South and the North. And Atiku was considered by members of the party as a man who has the capacity to be able to lead the Nigerians out of the woods. I think oftentimes we undermine the value of our prayers as Nigerians. From the conduct of our leader in Rivers, you do know that Nigerian prayers, the prayer of Nigerians, are actually working. Because if in just Rivers, you are subjecting everybody to the kind of torture we are seeing, which we never saw under military rule, including revocation of CFOs. Imagine if that person is in charge of the military. I had the privilege of watching him this evening on TVC. And I'm sure by tomorrow he will organize another live coverage to want to respond to some of these issues.
Charles.
So Sumner, we are not disturbed. We plead that they come back while we continue moving swiftly and smoothly with our train.
All right, let me come to this accusation. You know, there have been these plans and calls by leaders of the PDP that Wike and these 5 aggrieved governors should actually be sanctioned one way or the other. But Wike is saying that he's daring both the presidential candidate, your principal Atiku Abubakar, and the party to go ahead and do that, and saying that you will see more trouble, a bigger trouble, if there's an attempt to do that. On the other hand, he also accused Atiku Abubakar of doing the same thing that the party and its leaders are accusing them of doing, that Atiku Abubakar has been meeting secretly with APC governors. Isn't that an anti-party activity by your principal, you know, embarking on such secret meetings? I mean, so what has Wike and these other governors, what have they done wrong that your party members will be calling for sanctions against them when your principal is caught holding these same meetings in Dubai, according to Wike?
Well, Sumner, first of all, let me start from the issue of a threat. Even your medium have been threatened by Yeson Wike. You recall when just a simple view by Dr. Ruben Abati, our senior colleague in the profession, you saw how he had to organize a live coverage for the purpose of just insulting journalists who were just performing their function as given to them by Section 22 of the Nigerian Constitution, which makes it the primary responsibility of the media to hold government accountable to the people. The fact is that, yes, some Wike, governor of Rivers, think that he can threaten everybody, and then he goes about threatening people. We have been pleading with him to take it cool, come back to the house, let us build together. The issue of threatening everybody, you know it is a daily occurrence. It cannot be news. When he says they cannot, let them try it. And I begin to wonder whether he has his own different military in this country. Even President Muhammadu Buhari, a former military general that have gone to war, has never at any time threatened any Nigerian. And a governor who is supposed to be a civilian governor threatens people as if everybody was given birth to by his wife. So I begin to wonder where he may have derived such powers. But now coming to the issue of meetings, we have said we are going to unite this country. And uniting this country means that we must go beyond the frontiers of the PDP to interface with people irrespective of the political party where they belong, for the purpose of getting them to understand our agenda. Other political parties, you also understand, is interfacing with people. For instance, our brother and a former member of the party, PDP, have been having meetings with different persons. It's allowed in political terrain. It's different from what Governor Wike is doing. Totally different. When you meet with people, as many persons as you can ask to join you for the purpose of winning. After all, politics is a game of number. That cannot be said to be anti-party. Anti-party is when a PDP governor leaves Rivers and goes to Lagos to endorse an APC candidate in a state where the party has a formidable candidate like in the person of Jandor. a man who is doing very, very well, instead of him to be very, very happy that the candidate of the PDP in Lagos is waxing strong, he goes to Lagos to endorse the APC candidate. That is anti-party. He has also said, let them dare. The fact is that because we do desire, and our presidential candidate and his running mate do desire that we have a very, very peaceful electoral process, that we have a very, very peaceful electioneering campaign, is the reason why the party does not just want to take that option, not because anybody is afraid of the threat coming from Nyesom Wike. He must realize that he became a councillor under the PDP. He became a local government chairman under the PDP. He became a chief of staff. Of course, you have seen what he has done to his boss, Rotimi Amechi, under the PDP. I remember as a correspondent in Nigerian Senate, and Sumner, and I'm sure you will remember, that there was already a nominee sent by Rivers. Amechi protested that no, that was not the person he wanted to become minister. They have to withdraw that nominee even after confirmation for Nyesom Wike to be brought in by Amechi. You can see how he insults Amechi every day he has opportunity of airing live coverages. How do you organize live coverage just because you want to insult people? And then beyond that, you can have also seen, Sumner, what is happening with respect to him becoming a governor under the PDP. Even if you hate Atiku Abubakar, how can you be doing this to a party? I am not too sure he has done any other business. I'm not sure what other company he has opened. It was the PDP that made him to become what he has become. And so when you threaten the party, threaten our democracy, threaten those who were, when Atiku was a vice president, Nyesom Wike was still very busy struggling at the level of councillorship. So yes, we have kept quiet for a very long time because we need the peace, and we still do need the peace.
Charles, if I may come in now, he was a local government chairman of Obiakpo local government area. Now, can you confirm to us? Can you confirm to us that your principal Atiku Abubakar has been having meetings with Rotimi Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State, former minister of transportation, and the former presidential aspirant under the APC as a way of hitting back at Governor Nyesom Wike? If in
that is not
Wike and his group, Wike and his group adopt Tinubu or
if there is a
Peter
meeting,
Obi.
Sumner, you just showed me picture of Nyesom Wike and others meeting in London. If there could be interface. You could continue to interface. We have said we need every Nigerian on board because our desire to build a united Nigeria will mean that we have to interface with different groups, be they religious, be they political, be they ethnic, be they professionals. Because our desire to bring everybody together means that you must have cause to continue to interface with different persons. And of course, Rotimi Amechi is somebody who have also paid his own dues in this country. He was former boss to Nyesom Wike. So if it becomes necessary for us to be able to have interface with him, for the purpose of also tapping into his ideas as to how we can make progress, there is nothing wrong with that. And so if he begins to mention names of people that we are meeting with, we are not meeting with people to undermine our party. We hold meetings with people because we believe that our desire to push through our covenant with Nigerians is not covenant with PDP. It is not covenant with Muslims. It's not covenant with Christians. It's covenant with Nigerians. And every Nigerian, including those in the diaspora, are people we believe have got what it takes to bring to contribute. Atiku have made it very clear that he's going to form a government of national unity. A government of national unity means that you are going to unite all the forces, irrespective of their political inclination or religious biases. And so, anybody who is saying that Atiku is holding meeting with diverse persons, it's not making any news because we have said we're going to hold meetings, we are going to interface with a lot of people because we do believe that interfacing with these different persons is the surest way to begin to unite Nigerians. And so he has not made any point if he says that we're meeting with people. But what we will not do is to meet with people with a view to undermine our candidates at any level. We keep saying 5/5, and that 5/5 sometimes means the president, the governorship, the senatorial, the House of Reps, and the House of Assembly. Because we do believe that our policies will move swiftly when we're able to have preponderance of members of the PDP in the National Assembly, in the State Assembly, and in different state houses. So that at the end of the day, when we come up with policies, we are going to have lesser opposition.
Now, Charles, let's foresee a situation whereby this group of 5 aggrieved governors throw their weight for either Tinubu, as is being speculated, or a Peter Obi. How are you planning a way from such a scenario? And wouldn't that be a huge blow to your campaign, just like Atiku Abubakar himself had done to then President Goodluck Jonathan when he led this when he led some group of governors, about 7 of them, to actually leave the same party. And that crumbled Goodluck Jonathan's 2015 presidential ambition. What sort of strategy are you already putting on ground? Because, I mean, it looks like it's very clear, because they are insisting that they want to go ahead to support a southern candidate. And of course, Atiku Abubakar is not a southerner.
Well, I would not want you to fall into the trap of this fallacy of generalization where a number of our colleagues are progressing error. The issue of what happened in 2015 is far, far different from what happened now. In 2015, a group of PDP members felt that the party needed to move to the north, having had the party #1 position stayed for a very long time in the south. And when the leaders of the party at that time failed to do so, these individuals who believed that there was a need for that equity moved out of the party for them to be able to push through that agenda. They did not stay back in the party to sabotage the party. That's a different thing entirely. In this case, there was a contest intra-party election where Atiku won Nyesom Wike. He defeated him fair and square. And one would have expected that he could also win. After all, don't forget that Atiku started contesting for election, this particular position, as far back as 1992. He has, Buhari contested as president, contested 4 times before he won. It was in the 4th time that he won. So 3 other times he lost the election. He did not kill anybody. This is the first time that our leader, Nyesom Wike, is contesting for this position. If he loses as a younger person, there is still that opportunity of becoming. So I don't want us to progress in error by assuming that what happened in 2015 is the same thing with what is happening now. Besides, majority of Nigerians have become very tired of the very abysmal performance of the APC. So even if you move people out, that will not change the fact that they are very much tired of what has happened. They have become so tired that even members of the APC are even ashamed of talking about their records, which is why in their campaign, you see them trying to navigate towards Lagos to tell you what Tinubu did in Lagos and not what the party did in the 36 states of the Federation and Federal Capital Territory. Unfortunately for them, they take us to a Lagos that is ranked as one of the worst cities to live in. So that means that they are running from pillar to post, but unfortunately, the posts have become, and the pillars have become very rustic, and even when they hold those pillars, it cannot hold, it's not enough to get them to stand. And so, our leaders must know that Nigerians at this moment
how about the talk of supporting a southerner? How about the talk of supporting a southerner? They are out to seek justice and equity, and they say that they are all out to ensure that they support a southern presidential candidate, because even your own direct principal, the governor of Delta State, in one way or the other betrayed the southern cause. Don't you think that at this time
no.
That decision is making them to win more friends, because they are actually looking at how the southern part of the country can retain the presidency?
Sumner, I know you're asking this question for asking sake. You do know that that is not the situation. First of all, the Nigerian constitution, and I know you are very much versed about the different sections of that constitution, doesn't talk about zoning. It is the political parties that talked about zoning, starting with the PDP. And so if you're in the PDP, you cannot use the rule of the PDP to judge the actions in the APC. In 1999, the PDP, after the election, at that time, zoning was not introduced. It was after they discovered that at least Obasanjo amendment, and it became necessary through amendment that they needed to be able to accommodate North and South movement. But even in the midst of that, it became a little fluid, which is why in 2003, there was a contest between Obasanjo and Rimi and Gamade. The last time I checked, Rimi of blessed memory and Gamade are from the northern part of this country. In 2007, the southern persons also contested, even if Obasanjo was leaving. You recall that Governor Peter Odili was almost clinching that ticket until Obasanjo wielded the big stick, and then he fell into the hand of Yar'Adua of blessed memory. And then later on, Goodluck Jonathan became our president. And even when Goodluck Jonathan ran, he also ran alongside persons from the north. Now that is of the PDP. But incidentally, in 2015, the APC, another political party, won the election. You cannot use the rule of the APC to be zoning for the PDP. In the PDP was in power for 16 years. Of these 16 years, 13 and a half years was by the Southerners. And Southerners had sway. The Northerners only had the opportunity through the late Yar'Adua of blessed memory to be in office for just a period of 2.5 years. And some, if you want to do mathematics, whether it is what's called add maths or statistics or arithmetic, how does 13.5 years compare to 2.5 years in the PDP? And so these are brothers who are in the PDP who are talking about equity. The equity in the PDP means that ordinarily the Northerners in the PDP should have been the one to occupy that position. And in any case, Atiku Abubakar, being a man who believes that everybody needs to be brought on board, made it very clear that he will be glad if we can microzone to the southeast. It was still Nyesom Wike, because he was interested in running, that said no, because he thought that he could push out the funds and then muzzle everybody in the south. Atiku said, can we microzone to the southeast? Nyesom Wike, through his friends, of course, you remember that Totom was the chairman of the zoning committee, refused. And they made it possible that that zoning committee could not arrive at a decision, thinking that they could muzzle everybody with funds. Of course, you know where the funds are coming from. But today, because most members of the party understand that Atiku have got what it takes to be able to leave Nigeria out of the woods, and that he has got what democratic credentials. And like I said earlier, when Nigerians pray, they don't even know when God answers.
All right.
With the actions we have seen so far of Nyesom Wike, has it been very presidential?
Oh, okay, well, let's talk about Nigeria generally. You and I will know and agree, I mean, that the North has held sway both in terms of civilian and military government over the years. And that's why some people keep saying that, look, when you add up all these years together, I mean, the calls for a shift to Southern presidency begins to ring through. And that's why these G5 governors are thinking of a Bola Tinubu who is from the southwest or a Peter Obi who is from the southeast. But in all, as we try to round off this conversation generally, your colleague Dino Melaye, while speaking with my colleagues yesterday, actually said that if these G5 governors endorse someone outside the PDP, that it will be a political obituary for them. How true will that be, considering that, I mean, these people have their own rights to be able to go for anyone that they feel has the capacity to be able to deliver the Southern presidency for their own people who they represent, either at the governorship or senatorial level?
Even if everybody have their right to do what they like, it will be suicidal for a pregnant woman to be asked to turn upside down to perform acrobatics. So we must be able to know the limits of the rights. We have rules governing different processes. Those rules, the reason why you put it in place is that it recognizes that where one man's right ends is also the way another person's right begins. I don't want to begin to go into the theater of whether somebody is going to suffer a political obituary or not. I am not God to be able to predict that. But the party have got its own powers to also exercise in the event that somebody is critically, like some of these persons are doing, undermining the fortunes of the party. And I do know that even you somehow will be wondering why the party is keeping quiet for this length of time. The party is doing so because the party wanted to exhaust all avenues of ensuring that these individuals realize that the party have been able to bring them up to speed. Without the PDP, Sumner, just do your mathematics. These individuals who are creating all this heat, where would they be without the PDP? Just go and look at their history, and then tell me which businesses they have done without the PDP. And so when individuals begin to progress along this line and think that the rest of us don't matter, you begin to wonder what their calculation is. In any case, Sumner, how do you now progress to bringing military rule, democratic rule? What kind of mathematics is that to say that after all we had the military presidents from the north, now it is time to now begin to have a balance? You want to balance military and democratic system. There are certain things that we must do. And let me make it clear, as an individual, Sumner, I don't even believe that the issue of zoning and all those things is what we are going to look for. In America, nobody does zoning. What the essence of government is to provide, particularly in the case of our own constitution, specifically in section 14, subsection 2, paragraph B, is to provide security and welfare for the people. So anybody who is able to address those needs of the people and address the challenges confronting the society, irrespective of where he comes from, becomes an acceptable person. You fly every other day. Have you ever boarded a flight and you ask them, say, please, cabin crew, I want to see whether the pilot is from Southeast so that I will know whether he can take me to Enugu. You just board because you believe that pilot is capable of taking you to your destination. Any president that can take us to our destination, and in this case, Atiku Abubakar have got what it takes to take us to our destination.
All right,
Let us board this flight. that way we have the confidence with Nigerians, and then not get involved in these acrobatics and some of these
Charles,
gymnastics
just
that some of these leaders are getting engaged in.
Just before I let you go, very quickly, let me quote Nyesom Wike. He says, so why do you bother about us, G5 governors? You said you can win without us. Leave us alone. When are you going to leave the G5 governors alone?
You can see he does not even understand it. We are bothered about them because we want to carry everybody along, not necessarily because we will not be able to win without him, but because we want every Nigerian to move in one direction. We are bothered because we believe that his one vote is important. But beyond the vote, Atiku is not just looking for the votes. Atiku wants a country that will function. And that for this country to function, every hands must be on deck. So if you say, why are you bothered about it? You can see how divisive he has become. Even if it's tomorrow, that there's an opportunity for us to still go and beg Wike to come back and behave properly like a governor and as a member of the PDP. We will do so because we believe that the best way to get everybody to function and for our country to make progress is to get everybody on board. So if he thinks that by saying so, we will say no, go, we will not let him go. We want him to come and conform. And then let Nigerians, particularly those who are coming up, to know that the office of a governor is an exalted office. It is not an office where you just jump up and begin to sing Yendeba, and then the next thing you throw away your suit. He is a governor. Let him not be acting like a councillor. We will want him to behave like a governor and a governor of a very responsible political party, and not to begin to organize live coverages only to insult other elders. There are other Nigerians who have got all the fire, but they just behave. Look at Rotimi Amechi, his boss. Rotimi Amechi lost to Tinubu. Have you heard Rotimi Amechi insult anybody in the APC? Is that not a sign of maturity? Please let Wike may need to visit Rotimi Amechi's school of thought and then learn how these things happen. His other boss, Odili, also lost in an election. He did not kill anybody. He is younger than those persons. By the grace of God, there will still be an opportunity, of course, believing that Nigerians will forgive him for the kind of attitude he has displayed in this period of time. All
right. We must thank you so much, Charles Aniagwu. At least one exciting thing I like about your contribution today is that there's still room for reconciliation. The door is still open for all of this. Well, Nigerians have a lot of options in this election. So
very wide open.
If the PDP doesn't arrange itself, the Labour Party is there, the NMPP is there, APC is there, and of course, you all have yourselves to blame at the end of the day. But we must thank you so much. Charles Aniagwu is the spokesman of PDP Presidential Campaign Council and the Commissioner for Information in Delta State. We must thank you for joining us live from Asaba, the Delta State capital.